I used to let rejection have such a big impact on how I see myself, and it's time we stop letting rejection define us, and it's time we learn how to move through it with grace and use it as an opportunity for growth instead. So in this video, I'm gonna share some of the things that I have learned that have truly helped me move through it with such a different mindset. I can literally come up with so many examples of how I have been so affected by rejection in my life, like in my personal life, romantic life, work, education, friendships. Wow, I get constantly rejected. We all do, and that is just such a natural part of being human because you cannot satisfy everyone, and that's okay, but we'll go deeper into that later on. I recently had this really perspective shifting thought that I feel would be really beautiful to share with you. I think that because rejection is such a big part of being human, it's such a natural fear, and in the end it's not really the rejection itself, it's more about like the fear of being rejected, to me at least. I don't know if you can relate to that. And I read this quote that said fear in general will always be on the journey with you in life, but your higher self is in the driver's seat. And I have this picture, this image in my mind now of me sitting in a car. My higher self is this like radiant bubble of light sitting in the driver's seat. And then in the back seat, I have like all these fun little figures that are fear or anger or comparison, all these different feelings that are just a part of being human. But I can remind myself that it's okay, they're there. I can look back at them and I can smile and I can be like, it's okay, I'm in the driver's seat, I'm the one in control, so my higher self is the light that overshines all of those other figures. Also, if you're new here, welcome to this online sanctuary where we come together as women to reconnect with each other, with ourselves, and with the earth. This is your safe space on the internet, and I know that if you're here, you're the coolest person, and I just want to be best friends with you. So don't forget to subscribe to become a part of this online sisterhood. And also, if you feel like it, maybe come say hello over on my Instagram too. With that said, let's dive into why rejection hurts so much in the first place, to gain a deeper understanding of what it is that we are dealing with. I think rejection really triggers our deepest insecurities and vulnerabilities as human beings, because from this like societal perspective, we're taught that everyone is supposed to like us, and we're supposed to always be on this staircase that always goes up and up and up and always level up. Like, we're never allowed to take a step back or to take 2 steps back and then take a step ahead and take 1 back and 2 ahead. Like, we forget that life itself, when it comes to basically everything, is never a linear process. It's always about moving back and forth, up and down. And the sooner that we start really accepting that, I think it becomes easier to deal with rejection as a natural part of personal growth. I have so many vulnerable experiences with getting rejected, and I think when I look back at them in the end, they all have one thing in common, which is that if it hadn't been for those things, I would not be in the place that I am today. So actually, I'm just really grateful for those rejections. Try and think of something that didn't work out, and then think about how that thing really moved you forward into the place where you're at in your life right now. It's truly the butterfly effect, actually. And I think we all have like a good example of this in our lives. So I really want you to actually try and think about that, because that is just something I have personally found so helpful. And honestly, getting rejected can truly feel like the end of the world. I think we all recognize that feeling, and that that is, again, going back to the fear, like that is where the fear comes from. And that's okay. It's okay to feel like it's the end of the world in the moment, but there is also a balance in between that and then processing things in a healthy way. And I think it's just about allowing ourselves to feel what we're feeling, but then also reminding ourselves to keep moving forward as soon as we're ready for it. For example, within my work, I constantly connect with brands, reach out to brands, and get rejected daily, I want to say. And then in between all those rejections, there are the most aligned brands that reach out to me or that show a real interest in working together. And then those collaborations or creative projects really end up being like so much more meaningful because the negative parts really highlight the positive parts. And as we all know, like without the bad, the good really doesn't exist. And that's just okay. But once again, allow yourself to rest for a bit within that space of being heard and then know when it's time to move on. And don't pressure yourself to move on, but also just use the tools that you have and do the things that you know will help you, even if you don't want to do them. Just you know what's best for you and you know when it's time to move on. So trust your gut, trust your intuition. Something I really want to speak about when it comes to rejection is protecting your dreams and visions. And the reason I just really feel like this is so relevant to speak about for me right now is that it's something that towards the end of last year and in the beginning of this year, it's something that has been so central in my life. I have truly been dealing with having so many dreams and not knowing where to go with them, not knowing how to make the right decision and feeling like I was risking everything and no one really understood me. And then in the end, I actually found such a beautiful support from my friends and my family and my partner, of course, who always understands me and always supports me. But I mean, my friends and family also do that. And that is why I value having these people in my life so much. But when you want to do something that's a bit outside of the societal norms, I think it's quite normal to feel alone in that, even if it's in your own head, because there is really no recipe to become a content creator or create an online sanctuary like the one that we're creating here. So I'm really figuring all of that out on my own. But a tool that I have learned that I feel is absolutely life-changing. It's so simple, but it's also life-changing, is to process and reflect on your dreams internally before sharing them with anyone else. I'm not saying that you should go around feeling lonely, alone in the things that you're feeling. If you have the need to share. But if you have an idea, try and just keep that to yourself for a minute. Try and work on that idea. Ask yourself, how can I make this come to life? How can I make this feel like me? And in a way where I am protecting my needs and protecting my boundaries along the journey. Because doing this, we kind of avoid getting other people's fears projected onto ourselves. Because when we share an unusual idea with someone, people really have the tendency, even though they don't intend to do so, they have a tendency to project their own fears onto you because they don't think this is possible, or maybe they do, but they don't believe that they could make this happen personally. And then they will be like, how can you make this happen? When in the end, it's not about you, it's only about them. And I feel after having reflected on something myself for a little while, I just know what I'm gonna say to those people. Like, I know they're projecting their insecurities onto me, and I can be like, thank you. I know your intentions are trying to protect me, but this is actually coming off in a really negative way. And I feel like you're projecting your own insecurities onto me. When we're two different people, we move through the world in two different ways. This hopefully can allow you to just trust your own intuition, because once again, you know best. Like, you know what is best for you, and no one else knows that better than you. So we really want to build this internal validation first. And then when we share it with other people, if they really keep projecting their own insecurities onto us, we might want to ask ourselves, is this really a person that I want to have in my life? And obviously, we always want to give people a chance first to grow, because we all have good and bad sides. We all do things that we could have done better at times. So give people a chance, tell them that you feel that they're projecting their own insecurities onto you, and see how they react with that thought, and reflect on who are the people that you want to have in your life, who are the people who are cheering for you and helping you and supporting you no matter what you choose to do. The people that love you truly for who you are, they will support you even if they don't understand you. And that is such an important detail, because we don't have to understand everyone's dreams. Obviously, we're all different. We all have different dreams. But when we love someone, we will support them, and maybe we'll say something like, honestly, I cannot relate to what you're going through or what you're envisioning, but I really want to hear more about it. And I'm really curious to see how you move through this journey, and I can't wait to support you along the way. And tell me if there's something I can do to help you or to support you. Tell me how I can be a good listener or a good cheerleader for you on this journey. This way, you can set the good example, and you can meet other people who align with these values, and you can create your own dream inner circle. The next thing we're going to talk about is breaking the comparison cycle and returning that energy to ourselves. So instead of using all of our good energy on comparing ourselves to others, we're going to redirect this energy into ourselves and use it as something positive, because in the end, energy is energy. It's all the same, and we do have the power to turn negative energy into positive energy. It's just a question of how much we're willing to work with ourselves. I think that when we look at someone else and compare ourselves to someone else, we are always gonna find that they have something we don't, and that what they have is better. But what we need to realize is that comparison is not a hierarchy of someone comparing themselves to someone else who compares themselves to someone else, and then there's this person on top of the hierarchy who doesn't compare themselves to anyone else. Like, that's just not the case. It's a circle of people comparing themselves to each other. So you will compare yourself to someone, that person will compare themselves to someone else or to you. There will always be someone who thinks what you have is what they want to have, and you will always look at someone else and think what they have is what you want to have. And if we don't stop this circle, we will just never experience satisfaction. You can always look at other people. A personal example, like as a content creator, I can always look at someone else. They have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. They are so successful. Why am I not this successful? Where instead I can turn that around and I can say like, wow, they have hundreds of thousands of subscribers who are interested in their own niche. Wow, there are so many people out there who are potentially interested in what I do and what I share from my heart, and what I have is different, because even if we're all sharing like the same topic, we have different perspectives because we have different lived experiences. That is just amazing. It's not like one person is gonna take a piece of the cake and then there's less cake left for me. No, like there is enough cake for everyone. We as women need to stand on top of each other's shoulders. We need to support each other and cheer each other on, because there is enough space for all of us. We have been internalized to believe that there isn't space for all women in this world, but that is bullshit. Like, I call bullshit on that, because we all have so much to give in our own ways, and that is beautiful. You have so many things that your younger self would be so proud of. Acknowledge that. Be grateful for that. Let's turn this comparison into gratitude. Let's be grateful for what we have, proud of what we have achieved, and how our younger selves would be so impressed by us by now. Wow, instead of spending our energy on comparing ourselves to other people, we can spend that energy on devoting ourselves to what we love, become inspired by other women, other people, and share from our own hearts, believe in what we have is a unique gift, and be grateful for those unique gifts that we all have. Something I personally love to do is that I have set in my calendar, it's something new that I just started doing, but I've set aside a specific time frame in my calendar so that every Friday after I finish work, I take the time to write down the things that I'm grateful for this week and the things that I'm proud of. Then, after doing that, I will go ahead and I will delete social media. And I think it is gonna change my life. I cannot wait to come back on here and like reevaluate this with you. But I want to hear in the comments, like, are you with me on this one, on writing down? It doesn't have to be on Friday. It could be on any day that fits into your schedule, and then maybe delete social media for a day or two after that and redirecting that energy into yourself. So we are gonna practice creating over consuming and being grateful and proud over comparing. And with that said, I think we're just gonna go back to the reminder that it's okay to feel down when you get rejected, and know that someone not believing in you or someone not wanting to be in a relationship with you or work with you, or I don't know, whatever it is, that most often has nothing to do with you. It just has something to do with that person. It's not because you're better than them or they're better than you. It's just because we all have different needs and different boundaries. And you cannot make everyone like you. You cannot make everyone satisfied. So might as well use that rejection and say, wow, this person does not value me in the way that I want to be valued. And that is a good thing that I'm realizing this already now, so early in the process, so that I can move on to something else where I feel really appreciated for who I am and I feel helped and seen as a whole being. So instead of seeing it as a rejection, we actually start seeing it as a redirection. I'm sure you've heard this before. It's not rejection, it's redirection. I think it's a pretty powerful mindset shift because this means that we're allowed to feel it, but we're not gonna let it take over our lives. We're gonna stay in it for a little while and then we're gonna move on when we're ready. So now that we have talked about all of these different things, I feel like it would be really beautiful to just pause for a second and take a few deep breaths and ask yourself to reflect on everything and maybe write down a few examples of rejections that have been redirections in the most life-changing and beautiful ways, like small things and big things, rejections that have made you realize something, or times where you have trusted your own gut intuition and where you've proved to yourself that that was the right decision in that time and place, and that will always be the right decision. Of course, we surround ourselves with people who challenge us and who make us grow as people. Like when we do that, we also listen to them and we also change our views along the way when we gain new perspectives. But with that said, we always come back to our own intuition. And I just want you to remember that. And to strengthen that intuition, you really have to listen to it. It's not just gonna sit there and wait for you if you don't listen to it. It's gonna become more quiet, at least in my own experience. And the more that I have started listening to my intuition, the stronger it has become and the easier it has also become to use it as a tool for decision making instead of letting other people make my decisions, because that just does not feel right to me. It doesn't feel healthy. I would love for you to share in the comments below, what is one rejection that led you in a better direction? Because I think that we all need to hear as many good examples as possible so that we can keep reminding ourselves to listen to our intuition and to follow our dreams. And if this video resonated with you, I am so excited to tell you that there are 7 more episodes coming up in the Confidence series that I am filming right now and putting all of my creative energy into. It feels amazing. It's honestly such a journey to create these videos because it allows me to or not only allows, but it also really forces me to look within and to go through lived experiences myself, go through my memories, and also just remind myself of how far I've come. That is such a lovely experience that I'm so grateful I get to have, and I'm so grateful that I get to share it with all of you. So with that said, I really hope that you want to stick around on my channel and become part of this online sanctuary that we are building together, because it is nothing without you. I could never be alone in this. I could never do this without your support, and it means so much more to me that you could ever imagine that there is just one person out there who finds this video helpful, which is also, by the way, a really beautiful reminder that if one person sees you and if one person supports you, that means so much more than 10 people who don't. Just sit with that for a minute. That is yet another powerful change of perspective, I think. You're someone's muse. Someone is grateful for you every single day. Don't ever forget that. And see you in my next video.